now I've had a chance to give the project more shape. I've been working on it for a while. And I'm to the point where I want to smooth it out, and to the point where I'm going to be using a lot of sandpaper, and it throws off a lot of fine dust. And so I have this kind of a mask instead of what I had before, so this hits the mask and I'm not breathing it. So also right here, it's getting really thin, and so I'm afraid that if it gets too thin, the whole thing might explode. So I'm having more protection. But as you can see, it's looking pretty good. It's looking better. So I just have to make it a little bit thinner and start doing more of the sanding. I don't want to get it too thin. Now when I sand it, I start with the 60 grit. This is very, very rough. And I start sanding it like this. You can see how fine the dust is that comes off of here. Gotta be really, really careful. And it's really important to go from 60 grit to like 100, 120. You know, just keep getting finer and finer sandpaper. And that's how you get a really, really smooth finish. But at this point, it's, you know, there's a lot of fine dust in making. $150. Look how beautiful. We'll be chopping it here, and I'll have to finish that off. And we have to drill the large hole that goes in the center. But that's really getting somewhere. Okay. So now this project is moving forward. This has been smoothed, sanded, really fine sandpaper. So it's smooth as snot, as they say. And this little place right here, we're going to be cutting. But before we do all of that, we need to drill the hole in it. We've got this big Forstner bit. And so it's time for me to take this thing off of the machine. And so I'll back this thing off of here, pull it back like that. Okay, so now that we've taken it off of the lathe, it's time to drill the hole. And we've got this Forstner bit here that's got a large diameter, so it's going to put a lot of torque on this thing. And so I need to hold it with two hands. I'm holding it with two hands. I can't lower this, so we have my capable assistant right here who's going to lower it very slowly. And we're going to try this. The whole thing may explode when we do this, so we've got goggles on. We're hoping. We've got to center it perfectly. Like this. There's a good centering. Okay. And now, very slowly. Go. Here it comes. That's good. it's okay because this kind of stayed together. Now, we roped the heck out of it like this, put a lot of tension on it, so when we drill in again, it should be okay. Okay? Keep going. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So now the hole is done. So I'm going to take this thing off the machine. I'm going to lower this thing. Like that. Get that out of the way. Take it off like this. Easy. Yeah. And there you go. King Tut would be proud. All right, cool. Now I just have to make this chop, smooth that off, put the hinges on here, and I'm good. I'm going to leave this tied together until I can chop that right there and smooth it out. Should be perfect. Okay. All right, now I have to fixture this just right. So put this under here. Gotta be really careful. Gotta line this up just perfectly. Right here, I'm gonna just chop it just like this. Ready? Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Right there. So now I've got to smooth this off, and we're going to have the shape that we've been dreaming of. Okay, cool. So next I'm going to smooth this out. It's going to take a while, but I got to be really careful. And I'll turn as I go. Get that out of the way. I have more work to do on here, but I think I'll hit it with a file and do some other things. It's not going as fast as I want to. But I'll smooth this out so it's a perfect sphere here, and then I'll sand it smooth. It's going to take a minute. Okay, I'm going to hit it with the rasp, and that'll give me a very good way to take a lot of it away, like this, and I'll finish it off with a good sander. So this is good. This is working very well. So by the time I put it on a good sander, I'll be able to get the shape that I want. Even this rasping is a bit of a art form. Yeah, that's looking really good now. Now, the softness of my hand behind this conforms to that spherical shape that I want. So that's why if I was sanding it with a block, it wouldn't be as good. Like this. So there's the 60. That's looking really good now. I just love it when wood goes from this square substance to something that has this form and this beautiful shape. Ever since I was a very young kid, I really enjoyed this. And one time in particular, I was sanding, I must have been about 5, and I was sanding something, I was working at it real hard. I showed it to my father, Dave Samuel, and he was just so proud of me. And he just said, wow, he took it in his hand, he says, oh, that's wonderful, that's wonderful. Motivated me for the rest of my life. It's amazing when you've got a kid, what one word, one instance can do for that kid. I had a really good friend who was an educator, and he said that if you want to determine early which kids are going to do well, if you can measure how many times those kids are spoken to in a positive way, that's the single most determining factor you can have. So my thought is, when you have a young kid, you should never miss an opportunity to give them praise for some cool thing that they did. You know, they got to work for it, but That's what it's all about, motivating the young people. That's looking better and better, isn't it? So I graduated from the 60 to something that is smoother. That's the smoother stuff. And it's really important that you don't skip. If you try to go from something really, really rough to something really smooth, you'll be there all day. But if you gradually work it out, it goes really quickly. So I went from 120 to, this is 150. As you can see, it's not taking off as much. The real fine stuff. And that is definitely the shape that I envisioned. When we get it to open up, it's going to be awesome. Cool. Okay. Okay, it's time for the big reveal. What we've done is we've labeled the sides that come together. Here's our CAD, and we're going to take off all of this rope now. And for the first time, we'll see these parts come apart. This is very exciting because I'm a nerd, and this is the kind of thing that gets me all excited, I know. Whoa, there it goes. So, a lot of dust. But these are all the pieces. That's wonderful. At some point, I will take my chisel and carve a little circle in that. I don't know any other way to do it, but with a chisel or a really large Dremel. But the way it comes together is like this. We'll be putting the hinges on it. That's going to be beautiful, and it'll open up like this, all in unison, like that, and it'll release the orb that's inside. So that is pretty exciting. Got 3 pieces like that. It looks like that. It's going to look like this. So when you do your CAD and you actually create something from the CAD, it's a really great feeling.